Asalamualaikum all, welcome back to my channel. I pray that you are all in the best of health and iman. If you are new, welcome. My name is Nafisa. I am a Muslim life coach and I support Muslim women with relationship and mental health issues. So if you're interested in being coached in those areas, you can find me over on my website, which I will leave linked in the description box down below. But over here on YouTube, I make Islamic lifestyle as well as dawah content. So if you're interested in that, then definitely make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. So, ladies, today's video is for you in particular. And these are the reasons why he may not be committing to you, even if he has approached you for the purpose of marriage. So without any further ado, let's begin today's video. He won't commit to you because, number one, it's not meant to be. I wanted to start off with a spiritual point because I think oftentimes we forget about this side of things. Brothers and sisters in Islam, there are people whom Allah has ordained to be in our lives. They are part of the journey of our lives here in this dunya, and they are meant to be there either for the long term or for a particular period in our lives. And sometimes things don't work out with a particular brother, not because, or a particular sister, if you're a brother watching, not because you're a bad person or that they are a bad person, but just because it wasn't meant to be. Sometimes we try and we try and we try and we do everything that we can, but no matter what we do, it just doesn't seem to work out. And it comes to a point where you have to accept that Qadr has a part in your life, that Allah has a part in your life, that God is also guiding you to where He wants you to be. Sometimes I feel like the word Qadr kind of gets people a little bit confused. Yes, you do the best that you can, but the things that happen to you, despite the effort that you put into something, is to do with Qadr, is because Allah has written for you what will happen in your life, the choices He has made for you, and how they will pan out and how they will turn out, and who in this case will be in your life as your husband. So if you're trying everything that you can, you've done your whole possible best and it's not working out, sometimes you have to let it go and just accept that perhaps this just was not part of my Qadr. So that may be one of the reasons why he's not committing to you, because one of you has to reject this situation so that it doesn't turn out to become a marriage. If both of you accept this situation, chances are it will work out, and chances are that may be a sign that this person is meant for you. And if you want to know some of the signs that a person may be meant for you, then I recommend that you check out this video right here that I made a month ago or so, and that will help to clarify some of the signs that you may have found the one. Point number two, he may not commit to you because he is not ready to make the commitment of marriage. And I must say that I'm speaking about all these points in terms of anything that's leading towards marriage. Sometimes men are just not ready for the commitment that it takes to get into marriage, and also the commitment that it takes to maintain marriage. Sisters, sometimes we can be forceful as women. Sometimes we can try to persuade our men to be one way or another. Let him take the lead. That doesn't mean that you don't do anything, but let him take the majority of the lead to make things happen. Let him contact his wali to contact your wali to start making the process happen. And if you realize that he's making all these silly promises to you, but he's not actually making any concrete actions to make the marriage happen, then you have two options as a woman. You can either give him some time, or you can be like, thank you and goodbye. Okay, because I believe that there comes a time in a woman's life that she doesn't have years to spend or give to someone else waiting for them to make a commitment of marriage. I believe personally that when you feel that you are ready for marriage and you don't want to waste any time, you should go for someone who is equally ready. Now, the problem with some of these men is that sometimes they are not ready to give up their single life. Single life is just too enjoyable. The options are so many. He's not ready to be financially responsible for you or financially responsible for the children that you will have. He's not ready to have to make the commitment of giving up his single life, of going out every day or staying at home playing games all day, and then commit to being a husband. He's not ready to take responsibilities. He's not ready to protect. He, in his mind, he's still this little 18-year-old kid, and that's how he wants to remain. And we can't change people to make them who we want them to become. Sisters, I always tell you this. You can always give someone advice, whether it's a potential man that you want to marry or a sister of yours. We can give advice to one another, right? But at the end of the day, it is up to you to make the decisions that will move your life forward. And if you want a man who is going to be a leader, a protector, who is truly going to be a man and uphold the values that you have, then you need to have someone who knows what they want in life. So if he is not ready for commitment, he still wants to date all the girls in the world, he still wants to talk to multiple girls in the world, then let him go and do that. And you make your moving on to the person who is ready to make the commitment of marriage. So sisters, don't push it. Don't give out desperate vibes. If he just doesn't seem like he's ready to give up his single life, let him be. Third potential reason why he won't commit. You are giving wifely goodies to a man who hasn't wifed you yet. I know you're trying to show that you have the potential to be a good wife, that you can cook. So he might be like, why don't you cook for me? And you go out of your way, you use your own money to go shopping to cook for this man, and he just sits there, he eats your food, or you take food over to meet him one day because you're trying to show how much of a good cook you are. You're going above and beyond. And I'm hoping that sisters are not out there giving off their most precious gift. Okay, I'm going to leave it as that, because if you're over 18, you understand what that means, okay? I'm hoping that you're not giving that up for a man who is not your husband, because when the consequences come, that man could run, and then you will be left to handle a child by yourself and to handle the situation of you having lost your dignity. So sisters, he won't commit sometimes because you're already doing all the wifely things for him. So what is the incentive of him to have actually marry you? If you've run away from your parents' home and you're living with a man now, and you're dating, perhaps in the Western sense, because majority of my audience live in the West, you're dating in the Western sense, but actually living with this man, and then you're saying, yeah, but we have a plan of one day getting married. I'm telling you, a man who really wants you will respect your values if you uphold your values. That will be another point that I will make in a second. But if you're giving him the best of everything, there's really no incentive for him to actually marry you, because why should he make the commitment of marriage if he's already getting all the benefits for free? Point number 4 of why he may not want to commit to you is because you have no boundaries. Yep, you have no boundaries. You know in your heart that what you want is marriage, but yet you never brought up the topic. The reason why you and him started speaking in the first place had nothing to do with marriage. You just wanted to maybe talk to him and see how things go. See, when men say, I just want to see how things go, you have to say to them, the only reason why I'm speaking to you is to see how we may be a match for marriage. Because seeing how things go may mean that he just wants to date you, okay? And if you're not living that kind of a life where you want to date in the Western sense of things, then you have to make that clear from the get-go. You need to make him understand that, look, I am a woman that upholds the values of my deen to the best of my abilities. I don't do dating in the Western sense of things. We can speak, but these are the conditions where you and I will speak. And if you're ready for that, then we can go ahead. When you make those certain conditions clear in the beginning of the relationship, the man will quickly understand who he's dealing with. I have had men in the past whom, when they want to come and speak to me, I've made certain things clear to them that I would never do. And I'm not shy about doing that. I'm a grown woman. I will tell you clearly, I don't do certain things. So if that's what you're looking for, then I'm possibly not the person for you. And I've literally had a man whom, when I've said that to him, he came back to me and he said, I think we're at different places when it comes to how we practice the deen. So I think it's best we let things go. And I agreed. Because what he wanted to do was to be able to, wine and dine and all of this stuff and see how things go. And I made it clear that I wasn't going to be this type of a girl that, you can come, you give me a hug and touch me up. And no, I wasn't doing that. So if that's the kind of woman you're looking for, you want to look somewhere else, because this is not she. If you have boundaries, a man who wants to commit to you will commit to you. If you don't have any boundaries, why would he commit to you? He can simply do whatever he wants and still get away with it. Basically, what you're saying is that you don't have much self-respect. You don't expect much from him, therefore he won't give you much. So if you want commitment, then make yourself seem like the high-value pearl, the precious being that you are. Put yourself across like that. And a man, a king who is also looking for a woman like that, will find you. And it will be a quick way to get rid of all the idiots. I'm sorry for my English, but it will be a quick way to get rid of all the idiots who are not ready to commit. So if you find that you've let your boundaries go and then you're wondering why he won't commit, maybe that's why. Point number 5, he has trust issues. Yes. As much as us women get hurt in relationships, men also get hurt in relationships. Men also get cheated on in relationships. Men also go through difficulties in relationships. So perhaps there is someone that he was dealing with before who has let him down, who has broken his trust. And so maybe it's hard for him to trust someone. And that is not your fault. That is not a burden for you to carry. But if you find that a man has issues with trust, the best advice I believe that you can give him is for him to go and get help. For him to go and get help to deal with his trust issues so that he will be in a better position to be a husband to someone else. Because someone who has trust issues, whether they have issues trusting themselves or whether they have issues trusting a woman, it would be very hard for them to commit to you in a relationship, because there's always going to be things that they do, whether consciously or unconsciously, to sabotage that relationship. Things will start to go well, and as soon as they're starting to go well, they will somehow find a way either to run away or to destroy that relationship, because they are too afraid of where it's actually heading to. So that may be one of the reasons why he won't commit. Point number 6, and this one is specifically for my Muslims. He may be too aware of his option of marrying up to 4 wives. Why might this be a problem for him committing? Well, because you may not be the only woman that he's speaking to. He may just feel like you're just an option in the array of options. So if things don't work out with you, well, they'll work out with the other sister that he's speaking to. Or he may feel like if this marriage doesn't work out, I'll just go and take a second wife. Which sometimes men do to spite their first wife, or the second one, or whatever woman they've married before, or however many women they've married before. Sometimes they will go and get another woman, marry another woman, just to kind of teach her a lesson, which is a very cruel thing to do. And this is not what polygamy was intended for in Islam. But some men are too aware of their option to marry 4. So every time something else comes up, it's like, well, I really don't have to put up with this because I can just go get another wife. So that might be why he's having commitment issues with you in particular, or with a woman in particular, because he knows that he's got lots of options. And he is ready to practice those options, because I know that most Muslim men, majority, know that they can marry up to 4. But surprisingly, a lot of them is not in their plan to actually take a second wife. Sometimes situations come about in life that causes them or leads them to go on and take on another wife. But for the man who hasn't even yet married you and he's already acting as though he's got so many options and you're just one of the 4, that might be why he has issues committing to you, because he might also be exhausting all of his commitment efforts somewhere else. Point number 7, he has never had a role model who has shown him how to commit. Check this out, guys. Have you ever noticed in life that a lot of men who cheat also come from households where their fathers were also known to cheat? So there's like a pattern of behavior. If a child grows up and never had someone to demonstrate for them what it looks like to commit in a relationship, chances are they're going to also grow up into an adult who doesn't commit in a relationship and who is just jumping from one woman to the other. So I would say that if he's having issues committing to you and you're wondering why, if you can find out the background information, are their parents still together? And if they are still together, is the father a faithful man? Because if the father was never faithful, unconsciously, this might be what this man who you're intending to look into marrying, this might be the baggage that he is also carrying, which is that he is used to not seeing what a committed relationship looks like. And so he always finds a way to sabotage or run away from commitments. So sometimes that might be the case, but they might not be doing it intentionally. And I just want to make that point clear. But it might be the cause. Point number 8, he may not be committing to you because he's feeling pressured into making a commitment. No one wants to feel pressured into a relationship. A relationship where an individual will be truly happy will be a relationship where they go into it wanting to be in it. They move the relationship forward, wanting the relationship to move forward. Like I said before in the earlier point, sometimes us women can be quite pushy when it comes to where we want the relationship to go. And I always maintain that either you give that person some time to get to a place where they can make a decision themselves, or if you feel like you don't have that time to give, girl, let it go. Keep it moving. Stop trying to force men into relationships that they don't want to be in. Okay? That's not going to make them commit. In the long run, it's going to make them resent you because they're going to feel like they were pressured and forced into a relationship. And they'll do what you want for some time, but it's going to get to a point when they get to their breaking point where either they will leave you, okay, or they will just give up on the relationship entirely, and you just end up coexisting together, but you're not really a couple. You're not really living together as a married husband and wife. You're just coexisting together. And that's one of the results of doing this thing of pressuring a man into a relationship. So if he can't make the decision himself to commit, just let it go, sisters. Do not pressure a man into a relationship, because the man that's pressured into a relationship will never commit to you. Point number 9, and this is a very important point here, sisters. That is that he has serious insecurity issues. Okay? One of those could be serious jealousy. And serious jealousy, guys, is a red flag. It's a red flag. So if he doesn't want to commit, maybe you want to thank Allah and run as far as your feet can take you, okay? Because a man who is too extremely jealous, he can cause some disasters in the relationship, okay? He can cost you your mental health, and he doesn't even know how damaged he is. So sometimes insecurities can cause men to have issues with committing to a relationship because, number one, they might just not trust you, or they may not trust other people around you, and that will end up making you feel choked in the relationship, where you feel like I feel like I'm in a prison. Like, do I have some freedom to just be myself? Can I breathe, please? Right? And you have to be very, very careful with this, because I find that Muslim men who are insecure, they use the deen to cover up their insecurities. So when you're trying to explain to someone else what you're going through, other people really can't see what the big deal is. So if you say to someone, my husband doesn't even allow me to step outside without me asking for his permission. I have to ask for permission, and then he has to say yes before I can step outside, even if I'm just going to the corner shop. I can't work. He doesn't let me work. I have the time. The children are in school. They're older now, but I'm still not allowed to work, even if it's me working from home. I can't have a bank account in my own name. I have to put all of my money in his name. And then when I need money, he has to give me the money. Like, so many different situations that I've come across that women are experiencing in marriage, all because they are married to seriously insecure men who are using Islam as the excuse. So if you were to go to a sheikh or you were to go to an imam and say, he doesn't allow me to even step out to do the small things without me asking permission, then they're going to think, well, you know, in Islam, you're supposed to ask for your husband's permission before going out. So what's the big deal? They don't understand it. So it's a fine line. It's a fine line, guys. Be very, very careful. If a man is not willing to commit to you because he's so insecure, just thank Allah and run. That's the best advice I can give you. Thank Allah and run. Because insecurities can bring about so many problems in marriages and so many problems in relationships. So be very, very aware of that. Last but most certainly not least is that he may not commit to you because there are certain things that he wants in a woman that you just don't have. And guess what, sisters? That's okay. Yes, that's okay. That's okay. He can have the right to choose the type of woman that he wants. And if you're not the type of woman that he wants, you have to learn to be okay with that. We are sometimes rejected in life. Rejection is part of life. It's a bitter part of life. No one likes to be rejected, but it's reality. Same way as some men don't fit your list of what you want, likewise, you may also not fit the criteria of what he wants in a woman. And that doesn't make him a bad man just because you don't fit his criteria. And it doesn't make you a bad woman because you don't fit his criteria. It's okay. We are allowed to have preferences. And I feel like sometimes women take it to heart too much when a man just says, you just don't fit my criteria. It doesn't mean that you're a bad woman. It doesn't mean that you're not good enough. You will be good enough, back to my first point, for the right man. So if he says you're not the one, so if he says you don't fit into his criteria, that's okay. Let it go. Sometimes it's worth looking into some of the feedback that he gives you as to why you may not fit. If it's something that you think I can improve on this point and I can make myself better so that when I meet the next guy, I may be a better potential, then you can take that on board. But if you feel like this has nothing to do with me in terms of these are not the things I can change about myself, then keep it moving. A man who will love you for who you are will come at the right time. A good example that I can give about this is that some men prefer women who have a particular skin color. Okay, so if he prefers a very fair woman and Allah just didn't make you a fair woman, you're not gonna go and buy the bleaching creams now and start bleaching yourself to make yourself appealing to him. You're gonna let him go because there's no obedience to man in disobedience to Allah. And you are going to trust Allah who made and created you the way He wanted to, that He will bring about a man who will love you for who you are and for how Allah has made you. So it's just an example of some of the things that you may be able to change, some things that you may not be able to change, irregardless of the feedback that someone gives you. But it's okay if you're not the right person for them. If you know any sister out there whom you feel will benefit from the contents of today's video, please share it for the sake of Allah, that it may also enlighten them on what to look for when they are entering into a new relationship with the hope of marriage. So if you have enjoyed this video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below anything else you would like to add to this topic, and inshallah I will see you guys in my next video. Assalamualaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.